Good evening. I know you probably hate to hear this, but this is actually our last class together. This is actually chapter 9, and that's the last of the chapters that we have. I will be sending you the video, and probably tomorrow we'll be sending you the test on chapter 9. Again, I invite you to do some extra credit work if you would like to. You all have done very well on the tests. I am very proud of what you've accomplished. But again, if you want to do some extra credit work, I think I sent that to you the last time I wrote some things. So anyway, again, this is the last class that we will actually have online as such. And again, probably tomorrow or possibly the next day, I will be sending you the test itself on chapter 9 only. Dust to dust, or dust we are, and to dust we will return. How many times have we heard that saying? That's a part of a liturgy that is said by Christians around the world, normally on Ash Wednesday or perhaps at a funeral service. I actually have seen ministers take dirt from the ground and kind of do this over the tomb, over the casket. I don't particularly like that, but according to most Christians who believe that returning to dust at death is not, I repeat, is not the end of all things. According to the Nicene Creed, the resurrection comes after death. Okay? According to the Nicene Creed, the resurrection comes after death. Even the Hebrew Bible predicts a future resurrection, minus the Sadducees. Now you have to realize that the Sadducees were the people, the Hebrew people who believed there was no such thing as a resurrection. 13th century Jewish philosopher Maimonides lists belief in resurrection as one of the 13 essential beliefs in Judaism. Most philosophers, and I say this with sadness, most philosophers refuse to believe in an afterlife. So for them, most world religions need to change their core beliefs about any kind of afterlife. Afterlife, belief in an afterlife will depend on the following. Number one, what does life after death amount to? Number two, how do we think about ourselves? Are you purely human? Are you purely material beings, or do you have an immortal soul? Number three, how do people survive after death? Next question, what is life after death? What might it really be? To begin to think, if there is talk of life after death, then there has to be some kind of belief in an existence after death. There are at least 4 different views of afterlife. Number one would be somebody who believes there's no body, there's no mind, only byproducts, if you will, or only products of our lives. Number 2 are those who believe there's only a body. Number 3 are those who believe there's only a mind. Then number 4, there are those who believe in the afterlife there's both a body and a mind. Many people embrace so many different ideas and so many different views of the afterlife. Some Christians maintain that after death, the soul exists, and at a given time, the soul and the body will be reunited. In Eastern religions, they believe that the soul lives on in the embodiment of a new creation, if you will, and that's called reincarnation. Answer number 1 is the idea of a non-personal existence after death. A person is mostly remembered. And at a lot of funerals that I have done, I've asked people to remember the person who died, remember the person who has gone on, and then also remember those who are left behind. They believe you might go to a place, some believe that you might go to a place of punishment, but for the most part, they believe that you basically live in a humdrum experience. or existence. It is also believed in many Eastern religions that one continues to exist in another form, like one with Brahman, or the idea to go to some form of afterlife, maintaining a body but no mind, kind of like a zombie. And there's number 3, the belief that people survive after death through a disembodied or a reincarnated soul. The number 4 is the belief that those who adhere to a resurrection, the belief that the mind and the body will once again be reunited. There will be a new body. In this belief, people desire a better, non-diseased, non-deformed body. Let's talk about materialism versus dualism. Materialism is the belief that nothing exists. And I repeat, nothing exists outside of space, time, and material objects in time and space. Theists discount this view because it discounts the existence of God. There are 2 views of dualism. There are 2 kinds of substance, according to them. There's material and there's immaterial. Idealism is the view that there are no material substances, there are only minds. There are also those who believe that the body, there are also those who believe that the mind and the body as being one in each other. Truth is, much of the view of materialism is in control of the academic world today, and there's no regard for resurrection. In other words, there's this belief in most of the academic world that materialism is in control. There's no regard to anything that even resembles resurrection. Belief in the resurrection is seen not through a physical lens, but rather through a spiritual lens. So, 2 questions arise here. If materialism exists after death, is it believable? It's a good question. If materialism exists after death, is it not believable? Can a resurrected body actually be made up of physical materials that were decomposed? I dread the thought of raising up somebody out of a grave and seeing them 100 years after they've been in the grave. Number 2, are there real arguments against dualism? Theists, believers in God, are committed to the existence of one who can interact with the material world. Theism makes a person examine the whole thought of dualism. It makes the person seriously support the body and soul viewpoint. There's a body and there's soul, and they're bound together while we're here on this earth. So the question is then asked, if death is survivable, then what changes are there in a person after death comes to them? Many philosophers throughout history believe that there are immortal souls, and they can survive change if they are not totally annihilated by God. Arguments for and against survival of life after death. There's the disembodied survival. The concept that a soul may live on after death, but not in any kind of bodily form. In other words, there were souls out here somewhere in the outer universe before it was brought into life on the earth, and then when the body dies, the soul goes back to wherever it came from. And there's also the concept of reincarnation, the concept that the same person returns to life after death. They would return to a totally different and distinct body from which he or she had in the previous life. Now, some believe souls exist and as a disembodied spirits before being reincarnated into a form. In other words, in reincarnation, you might exist as a disembodied soul. It's existing somewhere before you are, reincarnated into a different form. Karma, K-A-R-M-A, is the law saying if you're good in this particular life, you will achieve a better life in the next life to come. That's reincarnation. But if you have bad karma, you may come back in a lesser form. If you have bad karma, you might come back as an ant and somebody might step on you. That's kind of the way that it is believed. There's also the question of the resurrection. The concept central to Christian belief is the concept of resurrection. It is anchored in the resurrection of Jesus Christ himself, which is found in all four Gospels of the Bible. There are two thoughts about the resurrection. In the resurrection, there could be a reassembling of body parts from the original body and a new body received after death. That raises more issues. How many body parts of the original body are part of the new body? And that raises even more questions. What if body parts were spread out all over the place when the body was killed? What if the body was dismembered? My answer to that is let's let God decide that. There's also the view that there are no old parts brought back at the resurrection. There's only new ones. It's an interesting point. In other words, the old body parts don't get reassembled together and there is a new body part. My thinking about the resurrection is very simple. I believe at the resurrection, I'm going to point out to you that I'm a Christian. My idea of the resurrection is that at that point, at that time, when God is ready to bring his people home to heaven, all people who have died in Christ, believers, they will be raised from the dead. Their souls will be reunited with their body and changed into a new body to go into heaven in a new body. So that's my feelings on the resurrection. That's my feelings on the Christian belief. That is chapter 9. We have finished the whole course. Now you have a couple of weeks before the final. I invite you to, again, finish up your papers. If you have questions, you can certainly write me, email, text me, whatever you'd like to do. Again, I'm excited that all of you all have done very well in this class, and I believe that I look forward to possibly seeing you all again in another class. I teach world religions, which I like a lot better than this one, but don't tell Miss Register that. Thanks. Bye.